Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML, a year of magical learning. I'm so excited to be back for my vacations, get into my normal routine. I feel good. I feel in place. I feel anchored. And, we want to continue episode one. Today is 112, and we want to talk about a bunch of different things that
Yeah,
we can do together. So, Chris, let's introduce your reflections and we can talk about it.
yeah, you got it. So this book is called The Inner Lives of Animals: Love, Grief, and Compassion: Surprising Observations of a Hidden World by the author Peter Wohlleben. If you remember this author, he's the same guy that did The Hidden Life of Trees.
Mhm.
I really liked The Hidden Life of Trees so much that I figured I'd give another shot with The Hidden Lives of Animals.
All right.
I love animals
Why
as
not?
well.
Right.
So this book was actually pretty interesting. It was about like animals have emotions, and animals have some examples in the description. Ravens call their friends by their names, and rats regret bad choices, and butterflies choose the very best places for their children to grow up. Horses feel shame, and deers grieve, and goats discipline their kids. It was an interesting look at the hidden lives of animals, the inner lives of animals.
Movie called Hidden Life of Pets, right?
I think so. Yeah, I've never seen it, but I think you are correct. It was an interesting read. I definitely liked The Hidden Life of Trees way better than The Inner Lives of Animals, but I feel like I learned something good in this book.
Hmm.
And in particular, my reflection title for this one was "We're All in This Together." I kicked off this reflection by talking about, I don't know about you, but I've always thought that humans were super unique and special, and that's something that I've always kind of held near and dear to my own heart. For
Yeah, are and we kind of are not.
right, no,
Because
I
we do have our uniqueness, but we also have a lot of commonalities with a lot, even with trees. We do have commonality. I mean,
right.
at one point in time, we were brothers and sisters in terms of, animals and trees. One decided to move and the other decides to hunker down and anchor onto the earth, right?
Right.
And we have something in common in terms of the DNA and whatnot, us humans and a plant.
For sure. I mean, that's been one of the biggest eye-opening journeys for me on this year magical learning adventure, I guess, is, realizing that humans really aren't much more special than, like you said, like the trees, than bacteria, than insects, than horses, sloths, dogs, beavers, plant,
Hmm.
fungi, octopuses. Like their octopuses are incredible. Lions, lichens, even, like the two different species coming together to form a new life form. Really, pretty much any life form on this planet is pretty incredible, to be honest with you. Like, and that's not to discount humans at all. I mean, we are also incredible, but I kind of always put us above everybody else, and I was like, oh yeah, well, humans kind of just run this world, and everybody else, kind of we dictate the flow. Is what I thought beforehand, and now as I I've gone through this journey, and eyes starting to open, learning more about other things in this world and understanding how incredible they are. It's really helped me to form a different paradigm and a different perspective when I look at anything. I think back to some of my favorite books I've read on this journey: The Hidden Lives of Trees, Tangled Life about fungi, The Origin of Species, Other Minds about the octopus, or I Contain Multitudes about bacteria and how we're like an island. Like we're just like a big walking bacteria. Like it's they're the ones that control and dictate a lot of the actions that we do. We're all so interconnected into this world. They all have magical things about them, like humans do too, but everybody else does as well. This world is pretty incredible. While I may not think that humans are the most special thing in the world anymore, I think what I think these days is that life is pretty special. And just in general, I really cherish and feel connected and honored to be a life form in this world and just know that life even exists. I mean, that's something that was not really a part of my paradigm before this whole journey began. But that said, I don't know why we do what we do. Obviously, you and I both know we talk about this all the time. What I do know is, and what I'm discovering through this whole entire process is that, every single thing in this world has a purpose, whether it's a living being or a non-living being. This has even been a new expansion for myself recently of inanimate objects. Like every single thing in this world has a purpose, in my opinion, personally. And also, every single thing that has a purpose is also interconnected with each other in this grand experiment and mosaic of the world that we live in, right? So it's been such a magical experience for me to learn about things like this. It's really opened my eyes to the world around me, and it's humbling, it's fun, and it's exciting at the same time to know that, like trees can talk to each other.
Hmm.
Animals have emotions. I don't look at my dog the same way. I don't look at even a spider. Whenever I have to, I don't have to. Whenever I kill a mouse in my house, and I don't want to, it really hurts me to my core. It really does. Like, I don't know. I hate it. Like I hate taking their life because they're just trying to, get a little cheese for their family and, come back and,
Right. Once
feed
you
the kids. Like,
understand, when you understand their perspective, you
right.
have a different outlook and feelings for the action that you do to them.
Right. We're all in this together. That's what the title is. Like, look, they got to eat. I got to eat. As long as we don't encroach on each other's territory, that's fine. As long as they don't destroy my world, then I'll let them do what they want to do.
We used to give them fair warning, right? Say, hey, this is my house. Get out of my yard, squirrel.
Right.
I have a number of squirrels that goes to my yard and just destroy my plants, which like for me, it's like I don't mind you using my yard. You can pick up all the acorns you want. There's nothing for you to eat in my plants. Don't kill my plants. So to me, it's like, hey, squirrel, I'm not telling you not to come to my yard, but at the same time, hey, there's boundaries you need to respect
Right.
because I'm not putting food in the plant. There's food for you. Right? Go eat the
Right.
food that's there, right?
Right.
There's food that I left out for you. You eat that one. Why are you messing with my other stuff? To me, it's like I'm kind of like in that struggles right now.
I feel your pain. In a happy world, we all get along and we're interconnected with each other. And I guess that was really the lesson of this particular one is, I'm for the rest of my life excited to learn more about the purposes and discover the purposes of the other things around me and to learn how to be a better team player, all around for the time that I have here and understand how connected we are. I wrote at the bottom of this one, we all only have one shot at life, so let's make it as magical as possible. And it's a pretty magical world that we live in. So that was the reflection from this one. It was a little sappy, but animals really kind of make me sappy. I mean, we went to the zoo on Saturday with Luca, and man, it's just really cool when you like, you go there and he fed a giraffe, these little guys are doing their thing, and the rhinos are farting and pooping right in front of you with their big old butts, and the elephants were getting massaged and bathed by everybody as they walked by, and the lion was just lounging out on his big old rock asleep in the middle of the day. He started roaring at one point in time, and it was pretty cool. The roar was just so deep, and you're like, shit, if I saw that guy in the wild, I'd be like, if there was no barrier between me and him, I would be like, that is the most intense looking animal ever. I mean, they're just so big and physical, and you could just tell like it has like this don't mess with me kind of, like just visual. Yeah. I mean, it's even the snakes. We went through like the little desert area, and like they creeped me out, but I was like, I found myself asking Felicia, I was like, why do snakes exist? Like, what is, there's got to be a reason. Like, why do these creepy little slithering dudes exist and live in the desert? I don't know. I'm sure they're there for a reason, but I don't know the answer to that one. I even found myself having a little respect for the snake. Anyway, I'll stop babbling at this point.
The thing is, with the reflection reminds me of when you talk about the beaver, right?
Right.
I mean, the thing is, we don't know because we haven't taken the time to look into. We're talking about the beaver on the surface. What is beaver good for? You think about it. What is
They're
beaver
rodents.
good for?
You're talking about just like you talk with the squirrel. They're a rodent.
Right? They're rodents, and they chop down your trees, and they haul the trees, and
they flood our crops.
Yeah, exactly. And so you ask your questions on the surface, like when you don't know anything about beaver, you ask the questions. These guys are good for nothing. They're just nuisance.
Right.
So you get rid of the beaver, right? What happened to the ecosystem? It completely broke down. I mean, you have wildfires in California because some of the ecosystem was taken away. And so like in multiple layers, in multiple ways that we don't know, that we, even human, rely on these ecosystem, and the chain of animals that is in the chain is able to connect and bridge that and allow us to have an environment where we can all thrive. Because until we did something to that beaver, right? Until we did it, then we knew the effect. But now we don't. We look at the snakes, right? We don't know because we didn't kill them yet. Once we kill them all, then we say, well, oh, gee, we should have killed them because we didn't see the things changes. Like imagine you kill all the butterflies, right? For whatever reason, there's a movie called, remember that movie with the bee with Jerry Seinfeld?
The life of the bee, bee's life, or no, that's a bug's life.
Yes, but it's not. Jerry Seinfeld was a bee, and then they work for the honey and the nectar, and they go and they sue somebody in court, and then they have to return all of the honey, and then all the flowers start dying and all that. So these people don't know the effect until the action has caused tremendous changes. And so that's to me is there is so many ripples that we cannot foresee this until it happens.
I can't remember. There was some book I want to say it was either the one about the octopus or I Contain Multitudes, actually. It was talking about algae and coral reefs and like why they're just dying off. It's like if you get a certain tiny little tweak of balance of too much like a certain type of algae in an ecosystem, it'll just consume it all, kill everything. Then all the fish leave because the coral dies because of the algae is suffocating it or something like that. And then once the coral dies, all the fish leave. And then once all the fish leave, like, it's this one tiny little extra, thing of algae that came from somewhere else. Like, and all of a sudden, like, the whole ecosystem is dead, and you're like, man, that's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the power of the ripple effect, the power of the compound effect. I mean, it's so little things that we say, hey, how could this tiny little thing can affect the whole ecosystem?
Right.
We talk about the butterfly flapping its wings, like enough butterfly flap its wings, it's going to cause a monsoon on the other side of the world. Those kind of effect, we don't know until we see the effect. And so to me, there's a lot of unknowns that we don't know. We're saying here, what are snakes good for?
Well, apparently the purpose of a snake is to keep pests such as rats and mice in check. I should probably throw one in my attic. Instead of me killing the mouse and feeling really bad about it, I'll just let the snake do its thing.
Catch mosquitoes, mosquito is good for other animals, whether you're talking about lizards or whatever. I mean, imagine if mosquitoes are gone. Yeah, mosquitoes are bad, but without mosquito, lizard might not be able to survive, and then no lizard. And there's so much things that we think is insignificant, but enough of them will create a disaster.
Mosquitoes are pollinators. Mosquitoes transfer pollen from flower to flower as they feed on nectar, fertilizing plant. What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because most people are asking what are mosquitoes useful for, right? But I'm telling you, there are many hidden purposes of these animals that we don't know. Only until we can look into them that we know. Just like we're talking about the hidden life of trees and the fungi, the network of the fungi. We don't know what these guys are supposed to contribute to our ecosystem until we either learn about them or we get rid of them and suffer the consequences.
Right.
I would prefer to learn about them and say, hey, you gotta have a purpose. So let me look versus I don't see any purpose. Let's get rid of it. Right?
Yeah.
Get rid of you.
Each other up, right? I mean, like figure out how you can, help trees become the best trees they can be, and help, it's no different than helping True to help be the best True he can be, I mean, it truly is like, it really is remarkable. I can't remember. Do you have a dog?
Yeah, I have a dog.
I forget. Like you have like a small dog, don't you?
I have a poodle mix Maltese.
Okay, so how old's your dog? Out of curiosity.
He's probably 6 or 7 years old. We had her for 5 years, and we had her when she was only a few years old.
Gotcha. Okay, so you got a 6 or 7-year-old dog. Like she's midlife at this point in time, roughly, right?
Yes.
My dog is.
I call 15. Her an old lady.
well, my dog is 15. She's really an old lady, right?
My dog is an old lady because she's the kind of dog that has shorter lifespan than a normal dog.
Fair enough. My dog is getting really old these days. She is, I love her to death. She was the first family member, I would say, that we added to our family between my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, 15 years ago, decided that was our first big couple experiment. It was getting an animal together when we were in our early 20s, right?
Right.
It feels weird to say getting an animal. Like we invited a dog into our family and we all have lived our lives together, I mean, she's a part of our family.
I mean, I think your life are much more, I guess, better in a way from a relationship and emotional perspective for having that dog.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Like where I was going with this though, is like during this journey and with, the reflection that I'm sharing here, like I honestly, I often find myself just looking at my dog and thinking, what is she thinking? I mean, I know she's thinking something. Like, I mean, I can see when she's pissed. I can see when she's happy. I can see even when she's old, I can see when she's just tired and she's like, guys, just leave me alone, and I can also see when she's kind of scared, where she's like getting old and she's like, I don't understand. I mean, I can't really see anything these days. I can't really hear much these days. I feel like I gotta go to the bathroom all the time these days. I mean, just like old people, right?
And that's why. So I guess in a way, kind of intrigued about these movies, like the B movie that I refer to with Jerry Seinfeld, The Secret Lives of Pets. and
Yeah.
many other, like it's like, it's like, hey, from the animal's perspective kind of movie, because it's I guess it makes us curious, and we are pretty excited to learn of the things that we say, well, we took for granted.
I just wish she could talk. I wish she could somehow figure out language. I don't understand it because I know that she understands. Like that's the thing is like I know that I can talk to her and I can communicate to her and she
Hmm.
communicates to me, but she communicates in a different language, obviously than what I communicate.
Yeah, it's
And
because you need to learn the language that she knows, whether that's some kind of a signal or sign language or whatnot.
right.
And so she probably communicate, we just don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably saying to us, she's probably talking to her buddies, when she goes to the park, and she's like, "Man, I wish I could just, I wish they would just bark at me." You know what I mean? Right, yeah, my human pets,
My human pet.
I mean, to be fair, like she doesn't work. She has a nice shelter over her head. She gets fed, twice a day regularly. She's and I'm not like a 1,000-day turkey, a 1,000-day turkey or something like that. She's part of our family. I mean, she gets all the privileges of living here, and
She's probably your master.
yeah, I jokingly told Felicia one time we were out on a walk, and this is like, man, when this whole journey started, and my head was in just a totally different place. When I finally started to get out of the rubble, a little bit of the blast, and and the curiosity was coming back in my life a little bit. It was probably, I remember this moment. It was about 6 months into this whole entire experience. I think I had just read The Hidden Life of Trees or something like that. It was like one of those kind of books where I was thinking about animals and just seeing things differently in general. My wife and I were on a walk, and I saw this human walking a dog on a leash. I had this weird out of body experience where I was like, man, if I was an alien that just landed on this planet and I'm just walking down the sidewalk, minding my own business, and I see this animal holding a leash to this animal, but that animal is not like, doesn't care. It was walking side by side, tails flapping, like it looks happy.
So who?
Like, I'm like, why the hell is this happening? Like what? Why? Who's walking who? And why is there a connection piece to hold them together? I was baffled, like thinking, why? And then it got worse from there. And then I started to go, as I would see people drive by in the car, when we were on this walking path, like all these cars started driving by us. And I was imagining every person in the car is like a little ape. And I'm also thinking like the alien, I'm like, why do those animals all just drive these freaking cars everywhere? But no, I don't see any other animal anywhere. Like, what the hell is this shit? And like, what is these streets? Like, why do they even have, like, I was like, my brain was going like, 900 different, places as I was thinking like, like what a weird world and awesome world that we live in. It's like we're just monkeys, like and we're out walking a canine. Like how crazy is this?
Yes, it's a very interesting perspective coming from an alien, eyes to see how we behave, and looking from that, it give us a like a new outlook on a lot of things that we seems to take for granted, just because from an alien perspective, the dogs essentially is your owner, because
Right.
it tells you where it goes, right? And they
You
just
feed it,
basically a
you clean up its poop.
exactly, you poop and you clean them up, right? Think about it.
I know.
It
You're
doesn't
right.
work.
I mean,
You work, you feed him, you buy food, you feed him, right? You take him out, he walks in front of you, he pulls you.
that's because our dogs have a purpose. The purpose is to be a happy, loving, just insanely giving, being with all their being of always smiling and being excited when they see you and wanting to play, right? Like, I mean, that's a dog's job. That's their purpose, right?
Yeah.
And keep you company.
Dog's purpose
Help.
is to de-stress humans, like a mother to a child. So
Yeah,
you
it
think,
is, yeah.
when you look from an alien perspective, from their goggles, the dog is essentially your master.
I agree. It says it's a movie. By the way, talk about like that's all. Oh, I guess there's a movie called A Dog's Purpose. Tear jerkers. Like I can never watch a single movie about an animal. I was watching something. This is a long time ago, where you're watching like a war movie from like World War II or something, and then like all these dudes are getting slaughtered on the battlefield, and then the horse gets killed, and you're like, oh my god, they killed the. You're like, I can't believe they just killed the horse. But you're watching just people get slaughtered everywhere, and then I feel so bad about the horse. And there's just something about
people dying everywhere, and then suddenly somebody chop off the legs of the horse, and the horse fell down, and then it's like, oh my god, somebody killed a horse. Right? And why is there 100 people to get killed?
Yeah, you don't even give no shits about like the people just getting slaughtered all over the place, But yeah, I mean like dog movies, like pets like that. I swear to God, I could like Marley and Me. I can never watch it ever again for the rest of my life. I mean, like hell, even All Dogs Go to Heaven. I don't think I ever cried in a movie ever in my entire life, except for I remember crying at All Dogs Go to Heaven when I was like 5 years old. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
It's been a while.
I was traumatized by that movie. I was 5 years old. I was in the theaters watching it, and I remember I will never watch this ever again. I was so sad. I will not watch that movie ever again. It just can't happen. Animals are pretty special, man.
On our ecosystem plays a part, and they
Yeah,
are important. Just like chain and a link, right? You can have a strong chain at the beginning or the end, but in the middle, if you take one out, it's gonna break. And when it breaks, it's gonna affect the chain at the beginning and the end as well. So like the ecosystem, like we talk about, if we take something out, something will happen, will change, and the
right.
ecosystem may suffer for it. And so that's the thing. Is I agree with your reflection. We are all in this together because we are all connected in ways that we don't know. Whether we know or not, they're connected. And if we decide and inadvertently take it out or change, then we're gonna be affected.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
sometimes, I guess we don't know until it's too late. The consequences are too dire at that point. And then this could be a mass destruction kind of atomic bomb.
agreed. And I mean, we're so lucky that we have words. Like this goes back to, for me, like I'm so happy that I can communicate what's in my head to you through language that you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know that my dog doesn't feel the same, think the same, have the same thoughts, but unfortunately for her, she has not figured out a way to get that out to the masses of other dogs in this world. You know what I mean? That's what makes us really special, in my personal opinion, is that somehow I can take whatever's in here, say it in here, and you can
Mm-hmm.
understand it over there. We could continue to have an hour-long conversation about animals and our emotions and thoughts and all this other crazy great stuff, but
But I think animals do communicate with one another on a certain level, because I've seen a lion got attacked by a bunch of hyenas, and then there's a bunch of lions now basically heard the call from far away and ran to the rescue after like 10 minutes. So those lions are far away, and they heard the call, and they came and they chased away the hyenas.
Sure.
To me, they have been able to communicate at some level, maybe not as sophisticated as we are, but at the end of the day, I still don't know. I think some of these are evidence enough that they do communicate. Whether we understand or not, that could be a different story.
Well, I'm sure we don't understand. Just like they don't understand. They'd be looking at us going, man, these monkeys, like, their mouth moves all the time, but I don't know what the hell
they're just making noise. Frogs in the night, like
right,
croaking all night, and then you have cicada chirping every single night on some kind of tree,
we don't know
and
what
then
they're saying.
you got
Maybe
owls
they're talking about
hooting,
philosophy.
like they're hooting. They could be talking philosophy for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're like, talking about where they're going to the bar, this chick they met, this girl owl,
Exactly.
Like, man, yeah, I mean, we have no idea what they're saying, obviously, and they're saying the same thing to us. To your point, too, around communication, Elephant Whisperer was another book that I read that we'll talk about later on, which I loved. I learned like elephants, like through their stomach grumbles, like literally they can communicate through like 600 miles away from them. Like it's vibration and things like that they recognize, and they've learned how to communicate with each other. And then trees can literally spread a message around the world, through their network of fungi. They'll have a stimulus and they'll pass it through their network, and they'll just pass it from tree to tree to tree. They have their own internet or interweb of connectivity and communication that they can easily say, hey, there's some assholes chopping us down today, guys. They can do these things. There's some bacteria that's killing us. There's some fungus that's killing us. They're all pretty amazing. That's a good point. I think everything probably communicates, and they may communicate just as well.
I know fungi communicates as well, because fungi to me is so amazing in the way that they find the most optimal path to any food source. Right? Because they would actually grow in one way and they retreat. Right. So that means that they put out the fillers, right? And if they find it and they retreat to the path of the food in the shortest distance. And so the fungi, in a way, communicates with each other to find those food, and they always find the most optimal way. Basically, any kind of combinations and permutations, fungi is able to find it for you.
It's pretty remarkable.
I mean, it's remarkable, because they will grow and they will shrink. They will actually retract the growth from that specific end. So they will grow like at random, outward. But once they found a food source, the rest of the other path, they retract back.
Like I said at the beginning of this, we're not that special. I mean, I fully believe that at this point in time. Like there are some incredibly...
We are special.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry. We are not abnormally special. Everybody's abnormally special, you know, and we're all interconnected in this whole world.
Yeah.
And like, why my dog may not live as long as we don't live as long as trees do.
We are
like,
all special. We just not the only one that is special. We're not alone in the universe.
It's a really powerful lesson to understand and to learn. I sometimes hate saying these things out loud. I appreciate that I can say these things to you, but I sometimes hate saying these things out loud to other humans because they're like, man, you're crazy. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, just, you know, what are you talking about? Like, you're talking about your dog, you're talking about fungi, you're talking about elephants, and you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Just get back in your paradigm and move the hell on, you know, kind of thing. It really does feel awkward sometimes to share these things to people, and
but it depends on
sucks.
whether or not they can communicate with you. Like knowing the word doesn't mean they understand the meaning, and so communications also have to depend on the paradigm of the other person. Okay, we're not looking at the same map. We can't talk to each other.
Right.
I say, hey, you know, look at the map, and I say, you know, you go right after that gas station, and you look at your map and say, I don't see a gas station. So how can you follow my directions if I'm using one map and you're using another map? And so to communicate, we both need to have roughly a commonality in terms of the map that we're talking about. Right. And that makes it fun. But if you talk to another guy, he say, hey, you weren't crazy, dude, Chris. You know, you're talking about all this nonsense that's out of this world, and then you basically are smoking some kind of fungi as
like
you learn about fungi.
You know? Right, exactly. I remember we were at a work event about a year and a half ago or something like that, and we were all doing these personality assessments. I forget what it was called. It's not like the Myers-Briggs or anything. It put your top 5 characteristics of yourself, and then there's like 30 other attributes or whatever. One of mine was the task was, as a team, there was like 15 of us in this room. The task was to share your top 5, you know, characteristics that were applicable to you. One of mine was connectedness, right? And like, and I started to say these things of like, you know, I think the trees can talk. I think, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I know that people around me were going like, you know, just like face palm, like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? You know? And I'm like,
what planet are you on?
I mean, and I'm like, I don't know what planet you guys are on, but like, this is like, if you don't see this, then you're an idiot, you know? I'm like, what do you guys care? Like, all they care about is like business, work, whatever, you know. I'm like, guys, like, stop and take a look at the castle around you, because this shit's pretty amazing, you know. Like, and don't take it for granted, you know. It's pretty cool. So anyway, all right, that's enough for me for this one.
Yeah, like I said, we don't know a lot of stuff, so we need to look into things and not make assumptions of saying, you know, mosquito has no purpose or things that you don't understand. Like I say, we can do a lot of harm by not seeing through to the ripple effects.
Anti-fragile, you know, first do no harm, right? Rule number 1 of like, if you don't know what somebody else's purpose is and you don't know it for sure, then the question we can leave with everybody is, what ways can you challenge yourself to better understand the world around you? Open up your paradigms and open up your mind to all the beautiful life around you. So drop your comments in the comment section, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Sounds good. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.